Good morning, ladies, and we're back. Shoot the confetti. Woo! Huge payoff. Today's topic, the new generation of poverty. The people that sit next to you and you have to plug your nose. The people who you can count on staying inside on a weekend. The people who are so pale that they could star in a Where's Waldo spinoff called Where's Casper the Ghost. You guessed it, computer science students. They're considered the pioneers of the future of technology, and the people who say that are mostly right. I mean, just think about it. The people who go and get computer science degrees are the ones that dictate how future software will be built and implemented. So soon enough you won't be able to comment, I don't know why this works, but don't fucking touch it in your Java program because your boss, who's a Gen Zer, soft as hell, and's gonna yell at you. Sorry, Gen Zers, I'm one of you. All right, enough of my yapping. Today we're going to college and y'all are going to get a computer science bachelor's in less than 5 minutes. Programming 1. Programming 1 is probably the first coding class that you'll take on your CS path. Usually in C++ or some other low-level language, Programming 1 is notorious for weeding out the programming bots, aka the people who picked comp sci as their degree path because they were promised eternal riches and an easy job working 2 hours a day at Google. But these people were only so excited to learn programming until they figured out what a pointer was and wanted to shove it up their ass. Programming 2! Programming 2, or object-oriented programming, similar to its predecessor, is still considered introductory programming, and it introduces the students into the world of classes and objects. You will muster together the small amount of information that you received in Programming 1 and try and apply those skills to a completely different type of software design. Calculators, string classes, timers, you'll build it all. And by it all, I mean you will build everything that will not be of any value to you when you graduate and you have to solve actual real-world problems. You'll be just so lucky to have a professor that speaks fluent English, and you'll either nuke the first test and drop the class, or nuke the first test and test your luck by staying enrolled. And along with learning OOP, you'll actually dip your toes into the deep end of data structures and algorithms. Stacks, queues, linked lists, you'll learn a little bit about this. And if you hate yourself enough to enjoy the time spent in this class, you'll do just fine. Computer organization. Computer org is the first class that breaks into the real study of computer science. Most of the normal people who take computer science as a major path usually thinks it just has something to do with coding and computers, and that's about it. And while you're partially right, when you actually end up in computer organization, you'll realize just how wrong you actually were. Computer organization goes even more low level than C++ already is, and it introduces you to comp sci topics on an assembly and binary scale. Yes, you heard me. Binary and assembly. You will be writing it. Binary arithmetic, MIPS assembly, combinational arithmetic, logic gates, all of it will be taught, none of it will be understood. The best part about computer org is that it's pretty far down the CS degree path. So when you take this course, dive into depression, and want to change your major, you will be taking out more student loans, and you will become a 6th year senior that won't graduate until 10 years down the line. Data structures too. So yeah, do you remember anything about data structures when you learned them back in what, object-oriented programming? Oh no, you don't? Well, congrats, you're part of the entire class here. Data structures 2 takes a deep dive into the elementary concepts that you learned about in object-oriented programming. Stacks, queues, linked lists, those are baby food in comparison to what you're going to go through in this class. The entire premise behind this class is to be able to understand the concepts behind the data structures and be able to implement them for yourself in assembly, on a piece of paper, with a wooden pencil. Anyways, for my people out there that are pursuing a CS degree, you all know that one kid in the class that when you turn to and ask him if he knows what's going on, he responds with, yeah, I've been coding since I was 9. I made my first compiler when I was 11, and it's being used at Microsoft right now. You know that kid, the one I'm talking about? Well, that's pretty much me. I started to teach myself how to code when I was 14, and whilst I am far from any genius, when you self-teach yourself a lot of the things that you learn in a traditional school setting, you can kind of pick up on what is and isn't important to learn. For instance, I know that teaching new coders a language like C++ is better for them in the long run, but chances are when they graduate and get a real big boy job, they're never going to touch C++ ever again in their life. Like if you're under the age of 35 and use C++, you might as well be above 35. Like, I don't know what to say at that point. And with that said, Data Structures 2 is actually the first of your CS classes that will help you in the workplace, or in this instance, actually help you in getting a job. But next up, we have software engineering. Speaking of helping out in the workplace, software engineering is the first stepping stone into learning something that is actually used every day in the workplace across the world. Now, I've not actually taken software engineering at my school yet, but one of my good friends, Dylan, shout out Dylan, let himself into my apartment and started bitching to me about a React assignment he was working on. And his assignment was built with the MERN stack. So what that means is MongoDB for the database, Express.js for the API interface, React for the front end, and Node.js for the back end. And I think this is great because web and mobile applications are sweeping across the world and they have no means of stopping. And another thing I thought was great about this is that the literal best way, college student or not, to learn to code is to build projects. Doesn't matter what language or technology you choose, build a project and you will learn something. The only real glaring problem with having students build a project like this is the stack has one fatal flaw: JavaScript. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, subscribe right now, or every piece of code that you'll write from now on will have bugs in it.